The night Brandon Swanson disappeared. Brandon Swanson was still on the phone with his parents when the night finally closed around him. He wasn't texting. He wasn't leaving a message that could be replayed later for clues. He was speaking in real time, walking through the darkness while the people who loved him most listened from the other end of the line, believing they were minutes away from finding him. That detail alone separates this case from most disappearances. In many missing person stories, the final moments are empty, just a last seen time and a location that quickly goes cold. But Brandon's disappearance unfolded live. There were footsteps, there was movement, there was a conversation that lasted long enough for everyone to believe the danger had already passed. And then, without warning, Brandon said two words: "Oh shit." The call didn't end with a click. It didn't drop like a dead phone or a lost signal. The line stayed open. The connection remained. But Brandon Swanson's voice was gone. He was never heard from again. What happened in those final seconds has never been proven. Did he fall? Did he step into water? Did the darkness hide something he couldn't see until it was too late? The truth is simple and cruel. No one knows. And the most painful part is that for a long time, everyone involved believed the answer was close enough to reach. Brandon Swanson was 19 years old, a college student in Minnesota studying wind energy technology. His life, by all outward measures, was stable. He wasn't drifting. He wasn't hiding from anything. He wasn't the kind of person whose disappearance could easily be explained by trouble or conflict. He had a family who cared enough to answer the phone in the middle of the night and immediately get into a car. He had friends, routines, responsibilities, and plans that stretched into the future. He was moving forward. That is what makes his disappearance so unsettling. There were no clear warning signs, no confirmed threats, no dramatic emotional collapse, nothing that suggested he was about to vanish without a trace. He was ordinary, and ordinary disappearances are the hardest to accept because they suggest that safety is more fragile than we want to believe. On the night it began, Brandon was doing something completely normal. He visited friends in a nearby town. It wasn't reckless or impulsive. It was the kind of social evening that ends quietly, with tired laughter and a drive home along familiar roads. It was late, past midnight, but not so late that it felt alarming. In rural areas, late nights are common. Roads stretch long and empty. Darkness settles in without urgency. The countryside at night can feel calm in a way cities never do. Fewer cars, fewer lights, fewer people. But that same emptiness can quickly turn dangerous, because when something goes wrong, there are fewer witnesses and fewer chances for help to appear by accident. Brandon started driving home on a route he had traveled before. He knew the general direction. He likely felt the quiet confidence that comes with familiarity. But familiarity offers no protection against the dark. When Brandon began walking, he entered a landscape that does not reveal danger easily. Rural terrain at night is uneven and deceptive. Ditches drop suddenly, Fields stretch without landmarks. Waterways can be invisible until you are almost on top of them. Tall grass hides holes. Mud pulls at your footing. A shallow ditch in daylight becomes a serious hazard in the dark. Walking while talking on the phone divides your attention. You are listening, responding, trying to stay calm. Your mind remains in problem-solving mode rather than survival mode. Brandon's parents could hear him walking. His footsteps suggested steady movement, not panic. He was moving with purpose, believing he was heading toward safety. It is easy to picture a young man under a dark sky, phone at his ear, eyes scanning for something familiar, trusting that a road is just a road and a field is just a field. But sometimes the land does not give second chances. At some point, the tone of the call shifted. Brandon stopped mid-conversation and said 2 words, "Oh, shit." Those words are disturbing because they are ambiguous. They could mean surprise, a stumble, a sudden obstacle, a realization that something was wrong. And then came silence. No explanation, no response. The line stayed open, but Brandon's voice was gone. An open line with silence is more frightening than a dropped call. It suggests the phone is still there, still connected, while the person is not speaking. His parents called his name. They likely repeated it. They likely begged him to answer. They likely told themselves there was a simple reason. They called back, again and again. No answer. This is the moment where normal life ends and uncertainty begins. Once the silence happened, the situation turned urgent. Brandon's parents were already searching, but now they were searching with panic. The problem was not only that Brandon was missing, it was that his exact location was unknown. If the original assumption was wrong, every mile driven could be taking them farther from him. Police became involved. Search efforts began quickly. In cases like this, the first hours matter. People can survive accidents, people can survive injuries, but survival depends on being found. Searchers found Brandon's car in the ditch, one solid confirmed piece of the story. But a car is not a person. They searched the surrounding area using dogs, volunteers, and coordinated efforts. They tried to reconstruct where Brandon might have walked. Despite everything, they found nothing. No clothing, no phone, no body. Just empty land. Most missing person cases offer at least one small thread to follow: a sighting, a camera image, a confirmed report. Brandon's case offered none. The trail simply ended. And when evidence disappears, the mind tries to replace it with explanation. People imagine accidents, they imagine water, they imagine hidden places, they imagine foul play because it gives the mystery a shape. But sometimes the truth is simpler and more disturbing. Sometimes a person disappears because the world is large, the night is dark, and one wrong step can remove them from the path people expect them to be on. Some believe Brandon fell into a river or waterway. At night, water can look like solid ground until it is too late. A fall could explain the silence. Others believe exposure or exhaustion played a role. Hypothermia can begin quietly, with confusion rather than pain. A fall or head injury can happen without warning or sound. There's even speculation about another person, but no confirmed evidence supports that idea. Every theory explains part of the story. None of them explains everything. What makes Brandon's case especially painful is how close it felt to being resolved. He wasn't isolated with no connection. He was on the phone. He was talking. His parents were driving toward him. They believed they were minutes away. Hope wasn't abstract. It was audible. And then it vanished. This is why the case continues to resonate. It is not just about a missing person. It is about a rescue that almost happened and then disappeared. Brandon Swanson has never been found. There is no confirmed record of what happened after those last words, no official explanation, no ending that brings closure. Only a phone call that turned into silence. Only a family that acted quickly and did everything they could and still ended up with unanswered questions. This wasn't a mystery created by violence. It didn't begin with a weapon or an enemy. It began with darkness, distance, and a small misunderstanding that grew larger with every step taken in the wrong direction. A young man believed he was walking towards safety. He believed the lights meant he was close. He believed the voices on the phone could guide him out. And then the world went quiet. If there is an ending to this story, it is not an answer. It is a feeling, an unfinished echo that remains because it has nowhere to land. A voice on the phone, a sentence cut in half, a silence that never turned back into sound. This was an unrecorded case.